I was covering last period in the art wing because the regular teacher had a migraine. The building felt half asleep, like everyone was saving energy for the final bell. I had 17 students, wet paint, and a roll of brown paper to keep the tables clean. A tone sounded from the ceiling speaker, then a clipped voice said we were in lockdown. The hallway lights didn't change, but the air did, like someone pinched it tight. I pulled the door shut, and the handle gave a tiny click that didn't sound fully committed. I tried the handle again, harder, and it wiggled like the latch hadn't caught. I told myself it was a bad strike plate and slid a heavy supply cart in front of it. At the bottom of the door, a thin band of light shifted, as if a shadow paused on the other side. One of the girls lifted her phone to record, and I shook my head so fast she stopped. The band of light disappeared, then came back, then disappeared again in a slow rhythm. A soft scrape ran along the door, not a knock, more like something dragging fingernails to find the seam. I mouthed for everyone to get behind the kiln partition, the one wall in the room that wasn't glass. As they moved, the cart rolled a fraction of an inch on its own, like it had been nudged. The handle lifted, lowered, lifted again, testing. I eased my eye to the narrow window set into the door, the one with wired glass. A face slid into view, close enough to fog it, and it wasn't any student I knew. The smile was too still, and one eye looked slightly off, like it wasn't tracking me the same way the other did. I backed up, and the cart jerked as the door pushed inward with sudden strength. The face stayed there while the door flexed, and a hand appeared at the edge, fingers pale, searching for purchase. The wired glass shivered, and the smile widened like it had been waiting for me to look. The cart finally gave, and the door opened a crack, wide enough for the fingers to hook around the edge. I grabbed the long metal ruler from the cutting table and slammed it into the gap, not to hurt anything, just to jam it. The fingers snapped back, and I shoved my shoulder into the door until it caught with a brutal, final thunk. We didn't breathe until the silence returned, heavier than before. When the all clear eventually came, the door swung open like it had never been loose at all. On the wired glass, right where the face had been, a circle of fog still clung, perfectly printed with the shape of lips. I was a senior, stuck in the portable classroom behind the gym, the one that always smelled like dust and warm plastic. Our teacher, Miss Delaney, had us doing quiet test corrections because she said the main building was a zoo that day. The windows looked out on the fence line, and the late sun made the room feel exposed. Her phone buzzed, and her expression drained before she said anything. She tapped a message onto the wall display and mouthed, "Lockdown," like the word itself was dangerous. At the end of the sentence, the portable's door handle dipped once, slow, like someone trying it without making sound. Miss Delaney crossed the room and slid the door's metal bar into place. The handle dipped again, then held, pressed down, as if the person outside didn't believe it was locked. A small puff of dust shook loose from the top hinge, and I realized the door was vibrating under steady pressure. She motioned us to the storage closet, and we crammed in between boxes of paper and a broken fan. The closet had a slatted vent at face level, and I ended up staring through it at the empty classroom. The door bar rattled twice, then stopped, and the quiet felt wrong, like a held breath. A faint tap came from the window, not the door. The blinds were half open, and through the slats I saw a shape at the glass, too close to be across the yard. A fingertip traced down the pane, leaving a clean line through the dust, slow and deliberate. The closet vent darkened as a head leaned in front of it from the classroom side. I saw a cheek, then an eye, then the full face as it lowered to look through the slats at us. The person's mouth was open just a little, and their teeth were wet, like they'd been breathing hard. Miss Delaney clapped a hand over my mouth as I flinched back, and the face outside the vent smiled in response. The closet door handle turned, once, twice, and the latch clicked like it was being worked from the wrong side. A sharp scrape followed, and the closet door bowed inward, just enough to make the hinges squeal. The face vanished from the vent, and something slammed into the closet door, one heavy hit that made the boxes jump. Miss Delaney shoved us toward the ceiling hatch used for wiring, popping it open with trembling fingers. I climbed up into the cramped space above the tiles, and the moment my legs disappeared, the closet door burst open below. I crawled along the narrow beams toward the portable's far end, following Miss Delaney's whispering hand signals. Under me, footsteps moved with purpose, pausing beneath my weight like the person could hear my heartbeat through the tiles. When we dropped out through the hatch near the back steps and sprinted into the shadow of the gym, I didn't look back until we hit the main doors. From the gym entrance, I saw the portable's blinds sway, even though the windows were closed. A face pressed into the gap between two slats, watching the building like it knew exactly where we ran. Then it lifted one finger and drew it across its own throat, slow, calm, and the blinds settled back into stillness. I was the part-time stagehand for the school's winter concert, mostly unpaid and mostly ignored. That afternoon, I was alone in the auditorium, checking taped marks on the floor and making sure the curtain line wasn't snagged. The house lights were dim, and the rows of seats looked like a field of black teeth. A bright alert flashed on the lobby monitor outside the doors, washing the glass with red letters. The message didn't make sound, but I understood it immediately. Lockdown. At the end of my swallow, the stage right exit bar clicked once, like someone tested it and let go. I locked the auditorium doors and pulled the heavy velvet curtain halfway closed to hide the stage. The exit bar clicked again, closer, and I realized the sound was coming from inside the auditorium, not the hallway. Above the stage, the catwalk ladder creaked, one rung settling under fresh weight. I killed the work light and slid behind the grand piano shell, crouching low. In the dark, the auditorium held tiny noises it usually hid. Fabric shifting, metal cooling, breath moving. Something scraped along the catwalk railing overhead, a slow drag that stopped directly above me. My phone buzzed with a single incoming message from the main office. Stay hidden. The screen glow reflected off the piano lacquer, and I turned it face down fast. Up high, a small beam of light flicked on, thin and searching, sweeping across the stage like a patient blade. The beam paused on my hiding spot, as if it had been guided there. A silhouette leaned over the catwalk edge, and I saw a head shape, shoulders, and the gleam of something metallic in one hand. The face came into the spill of its own light, pale, expressionless, eyes fixed downward like it already knew my name. I bolted for the orchestra pit stairs, feet slipping on the edge of the stage. The catwalk ladder rang as someone descended fast, metal clanging in a brutal rhythm behind me. I heard a foot hit the stage floor, then a second, and the work light snapped on, flooding everything with harsh white. I sprinted through the narrow aisle between seats, ducking low, pushing past armrests that grabbed at my jacket. Behind me, footsteps hit the carpet in quick bursts, closing the distance, and I felt breath on the back of my neck. A hand snagged my hoodie, yanking me sideways, and I twisted free so hard the fabric tore at the seam. I smashed through the lobby doors and out into the open courtyard, where a cluster of staff were waving people toward cover. I didn't stop until I was behind a concrete planter, shaking so badly my teeth hurt. When I looked back at the auditorium entrance, the glass reflected the lobby monitor's red alert, and in that reflection, a figure stood inside the dark doorway, raising 2 fingers to its lips for a quiet, perfect shush.